Hey guys, welcome to Girl Meets Screen. I'm Norma, your host or whatever. So we are talking Love is Blind. I know I'm super late. Listen, I had the flu. I had major anxiety about coming back. I mean, it's been literal months. We're just gonna jump right in and talk about more so the updates than the show. I really wish I had been able to do the show because it would have been so fun to react. But I'm thinking it's kind of a good thing because I've had some time to think, to marinate, to hear others' opinions, and gather a more, I guess, informed opinion, you could say, as informed as we can get here. One thing I will say, I know that it's like super edited, right? We all know that. But the issue I have is like, then you'll like transition into seeing this person live their everyday life, like on their IG or whatever. And yes, that's also curated, edited, whatever you want to call it, but by them. So when that person pretty much matches close enough to the person you saw on the show, that's just you. That's how I feel. I'm like, you just maybe need to like reflect, inner reflect, and accept that that is who you are, whether you liked it or not. Anyways, so let's jump right in. We're gonna start with Alexa and Brennan, the least interesting couple, not in a negative way, just in a way of, you know, they vibed. We never saw them have any issues really. And yeah, so they're cute, you know. Brennan, major, just like in love with my wife vibes. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, we don't know, but it works for them. It's fine. Alexa loves being loved, he loves loving Alexa. So there's not really too much to say about their marriage. The only like update situation I'd say I'd have is I really have enjoyed kind of hearing and seeing clips here and there of them talking now about their marriage. It was really cool to hear that they actually did like a rehearsal dinner. So she tried to get in like as many, you know, wedding traditions as she could. She wanted it to feel as real as it could, which I think is good. Lets us know that they're both trying to make this real, you know? Not that everyone else isn't, but that there was like a true intention of like, this is forever, right? Whereas I feel like most of the people that have come out of this experiment, except maybe the first season, kind of came out with this like, let's see how it goes mentality. Like a lot of the couple, two or three of the couples, two couples I think throughout all three seasons have like gotten back together after saying no at the altar. I think that's kind of silly because the way I look at it, even though they are put in kind of a pressure cooker situation, I still feel like you figured out whether you're going to be with this person forever or not. Like, if that person doesn't want to be with you forever in that moment, like, there's no, like, what are you wasting time for? Like, because you weren't wasting time in the experiment, right? You got to get to know people fast. It's like an incubator for, like, honest feelings, not always being your best selves, as we all see. So it's like, if they don't want you then, like, there's not much you can do that's going to make them want you later. But that's just my thought process on that. So, you know, whatever. But anywho, I enjoyed hearing those conversations. The one like no I have was Alexa. So, you know, she teamed up with the girls to gang up on Cole, but then doubled down after like we all saw what like in a way was really going on. And that's when I feel like, okay, either stay silent or make a statement that's like, I shouldn't have gotten into that. That wasn't my place. Like, that wasn't my business. Honestly, I should have just stayed out of it. It seems like things are deeper than we thought they were, or, you know, something like that. It probably would have been so much more on character with the person that I'm kind of seeing now, like after the show. She's not much different from the show, but I'm saying like there was a little bit of mean girl energy like under the surface, and it kind of like with that statement, it was like, so is that you then? Like the mean girl vibes, or are you the chill girl you've been showing? But anyways, that was the one thing I had about her, because, you know, she makes a statement like, I hate a bully, and it's like, but you guys bullied him on stage. Like, there's no way around that. Whether Cole was right or wrong, you guys were also wrong. Like, why do we feel, I'm starting to see, and even I had these feelings at first, was like, why do we feel like it has to be one or the other? Both people can have sucked, you know? But we'll get into that. But anyways, yeah, so that's Alexa and Brennan. Then we have Matt and Colleen. Now, keeping it very short and simple, I'm going to try to keep this video short so I can edit it quickly. But keeping it very short and simple, we all have serious concerns about the way Matt is and the way Colleen reacts to that. If they're working, great. Like, if that just went away and it was just like an in this situation pressure cooker, didn't know how to handle it, wonderful. What I don't like is Matt continues to make it seem like it was no big deal, like they were small little spats. That's the fear I have here, is that because he's not addressing it, it can't get fixed, right? If you don't see it as an issue, how are you gonna fix it? So that's how I feel about that. The reunion, in Colleen's explanations, she explained a little on Cosmopolitan. Then she also talked some more in some interviews, and basically she was saying she had a lot of anxiety and a lot of emotional and mental struggles because of how she was portrayed, or like the things people were saying about her, which I can see. I think it can be, to keep it short and sweet, it's hard when you're being torn down to lift somebody else up. So because there was this like unspoken random competition between her and Zanab, not only on the show, the way it was edited, but also the way viewers were reacting. And it was a lot of like, we have to make Colleen ugly to make Zanab pretty, when it's like, they can both just be pretty in different ways. That's kind of how I felt the whole show. I felt like it was kind of weird to keep doing this comparison thing. Nancy kind of does it with Raven. It's like, just do you, girl. He picked you, I guess, kind of, because Bartise really didn't. But anyways, yeah, so I could see that being hard. I could see that taking a toll. And honestly, yes, Matt has issues to fix. Not knocking that. Once again, two things can be real, right, truths at the same time. He does need to acknowledge what he did so that it doesn't happen again. But also, I am inclined to believe her, because, you know, a lot of people's reasonings for why they think what's going on in their relationship, the things they think or whatever, is because she's not bubbly anymore. She's not smiling as much. She was so smiley and bubbly and sweet, and she just seems so beaten down and sad. And that can also happen receiving negative comments. You know, not everybody receives them well. So it really could be because of the show and how she was portrayed and what people think of her and what people are saying about her, you know? So I'm inclined to believe that. And then in terms of like her explaining why Matt was like hovering and looking really sus, was because he was trying to protect her from that. You know, she, according to her, expressed her worries to him. And, you know, he was like, I'm your guy. I'm gonna be there for you. I'm gonna make sure you feel safe and protected and whatever. And for some people, that's what that looks like. You know, he's holding on to her, really looking at her, like rubbing her arm, like just on her, almost like a weighted blanket, or like, you know, a security blanket, just like kind of protecting you so that you can keep your emotions under control. So I could see it being both. We really don't know because we don't know them. I hope it's what she said, for her safety and, you know, the health of the relationship. But you could see both. I could see it being, you know, she's struggling mentally and he's kind of trying to do what he can to aid in that. One thing I don't like is in the interview, she was like, I wish they had brought that up because we did want to talk about it, but then still hasn't talked about it, addressed it. Like I said, the only thing Matt said, which again, he's still not taking accountability, is that he didn't call her names and he wasn't like yelling at her or yelling in her face or whatever he says in that interview, which it's like, okay, but what you did, still beyond not okay, still really bad. Like it wasn't just some small argument that you guys, you know, some small spat, the way he's trying to make it seem. So yeah, those are my concerns for them. Moving right along, Nancy and Bartise. Not too much of an update for them because they've both just kind of been living their lives. We all know how we feel about Bartise, hot mess express. Now Nancy, I've had time to think, and I think she was the problem too. Whether it was desperation or, I mean, that's really all it can be. And it feels icky to be like, that person was just desperate, but it kind of was that. And I don't mean that in such a negative or like mean way. I just mean like, you know, she's in her 30s. She wants to get married. She wants to have kids. And I agree with the opinion that I think she just settled. Like, I think she was just like, this guy seems super interested in me, somewhat genuine, going that way, right? Or maybe she didn't settle. Okay, you know what? She didn't settle in the pods because, like, he had us all bamboozled in the beginning. There were some people who said no, but, like, bamboozled in the beginning. But afterwards, it was kind of like, okay, this isn't the greatest match or this isn't the greatest person, but we gonna keep going, right? I want these kids. I want these babies. Maybe he'll be that person off camera. I don't know what she was thinking, but no, Nancy, you needed to walk away immediately. When he was calling that girl a smoke show in your face like that, you needed to be like, I'm packing my bags, Netflix. I'm heading out. See you later. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about them. I hated that she didn't have the same energy for him that she had for Cole in the reunion. She had the nerve to be like, you know, thank you for being brutally honest or whatever. No, baby, that's not You don't thank someone for that. Yeah, so those are my opinions on them. Bartise, I feel like he knows he looks like a jackass on TV. I don't think he cares very much. I think he cares that he hurt someone in doing that. I don't think he cares like that that's who he is when it comes to relationships. Does that make sense? But anyways, and yeah, I know the bomb about him being with a girl, but if I'm being completely honest, yes, it's kind of crappy in terms of like you claimed to have loved this person and the next day you're already looking for someone else you can hook up with, and within the week you hook up with that person. A little bit like icky, but I don't know that I think he kind of used coping as a way out, because as soon as someone says coping, right, you can't be too harsh, because it's like they're coping, they're struggling with the trauma. But coping may be not the right word, but also like, you know, he said no at the altar, she chose not to continue the relationship. Honestly, after that day, he can kind of do whatever he wants. As weird as it might be to us, he didn't cheat, you know? So yeah, there's that. And moving on, moving right along to SK and Raven. Here's the thing, right, is up until now, I thought Raven was genuine. I thought she's been bamboozled and fooled by SK, because listen, y'all, they seemed off to me the whole show. I never was like, oh, you know, you're like, oh, you grew to love them, or like she grew to love him, so then you love them. I never got that. I always thought something was off. What I didn't like was that the reasonings SK gave for saying I don't were all things they had spoken about, and he said he was okay with, and he was adamant that he was okay about. There were multiple conversations about her family not being there, and him being like, you know, but I understand, it's fine. They discussed him going to school and her not going with him. Yeah, it's fine, we'll work it out. And then at the end decides not to. Not saying you can't change your mind, but also you have to be held accountable for it, right? Like, I don't understand why we were just like, oh yeah, you know, it's just like he didn't want to feel pressure from his family. Like, he wanted to say it himself. And it's like, that's great, but it's still messed up, because the reasonings he's giving are things they've already spoken about and things that won't change, which I have an issue with the fact that they got back together, is those things aren't going to change. So she still stayed where she was while he went to school. Like, so you couldn't marry her, but you can date her for that. Also, they did the do, like, when they got back together or whatever, and that, to me, it's like, it feels very like, you know, those guys that just like to chase, and then they get it, and they're like, got it, I'm good to go, right? It gave that a little bit. But anyways, we get the cheating scandals, bunch of girls come out, they make a joint statement, then he makes a statement basically trying to say that they are misconstruing the truth. Whatever he's trying to say doesn't make sense. He was talking to these girls, and also he can, because he's claiming they were like broken up in that time span when he was talking to these girls. Even still, a lot of these girls overlap and seem to have thought that they were headed somewhere serious. So that's weird to me. Also, the energy given at the reunion about them getting back together was very much like, we're so in love that we just realized we needed to keep going. But then like he's like, oh well, we were broken up, so like I could talk to other people. So then you don't love that person so much. Like, it just didn't make sense. They don't connect. Something is off with SK. And originally I was like, I don't think Raven had a clue of any of this. I think she's just trying to handle it the best she can on social media. But I've got two theories. One, she had to make the joint statement because of Netflix for whatever reason. Maybe contractually there can't be any tension no matter what happens. So she has to seem like, you know, we're friends, it's fine. Things have just been a little overwhelming, so we're not together anymore. Or other side is, at some point it went from she just loves this guy and he's special to she realized SK is a little bit of a foot boy, and decided to just play along for social media, right? Like, she's trying to do her Pilates thing. He wants whatever fame he thinks he's getting from it, and decided to just keep going along with it. Because I agree with people where it's like, I wouldn't get, like, 3 girls come out, I find out you've been talking to 3 girls, like, regardless of what, like, stages our relationship was in, we were still supposedly so in love. Like, I'm not making a joint statement with you, and I don't think she should have made a joint statement. I think she could have made that statement very much separately, and I would have chose to make it very much separately. So the other theory is that she was just in on it, you know, like, and then she didn't care because, like, they had an agreement. You know, I hope it's the first and not the latter, but what can we do? Anywho, those are my, like, really quick, simple thoughts on them. Like, SK is a mess, embarrassment, embarrassing, whatever you want to call it. It's just a no. And then I'm worried Raven, because you kind of grow to love her a little bit. I still think everything I thought about her in the beginning was true. It can be both. You can also get to know someone a little bit better, but they still be all those things. So I hope she wasn't involved, but it kind of seems that way a little bit. It kind of seems like they just thought they'd finesse the system for as long as they could. So we'll see what comes of that. I don't know what he's going to sue for because it kind of seems like it's just the truth. So like he claims extortion. We'll see if anyone actually asks for money. I'm sure we'll find out more about that soon. Last couple, Cole and Zanab. This is where I was saying two things can be the same, right? Cole was really immature. He made some really dumb comments that could really affect somebody. But I think a big part of their issue, like I think Zanab was also a part of the issues. Cole had his wrongs, yes. But I think towards the end, you start to realize that Zanab's issues might have had a lot to do with that. One thing with Cole that everyone kept talking about how, you know, he kept talking about his attraction to Colleen. And while I think it started off as like, she's physically more my type, I think he also kind of, having Zanab, who was this passive aggressive, not very bubbly woman, more of like a chill, you know, older, more mature style person. And then Colleen, who's a little bit more bubbly, a little bit more fun. And that's the type of woman he's liked before meeting Zanab. I think it kind of went from, when he was referring to attraction, it went from like originally like, oh, that's more physically attractive to me, and it turned more into like characteristics that are attractive to me. Like, you know, he's getting a lot of a passive aggressive like characteristics from Zanab throughout this, and he's seeing Colleen just bubbly, smiley, having a good time, and he's wishing he had more of that with Zanab. And I think that's where a lot of his stuff stemmed from. And then her insecurity, first of all, he did not single-handedly ruin her self-esteem. That baby was ruined and on the floor a long time ago. I know that sounds harsh, but it's just the truth. Only you can do that. Only you can choose how people's words affect you, how you respond to people whose words affect you. Communication is key in all relationships, but especially intimate ones. To me, it did not seem like she ever raised a concern to him about, like, you know, your words hurt me. Your words are affecting my eating. If you could just like watch what you say. I don't think she ever expressed that. Cole does not seem like the type of person who would hear that and be like, get over it. You sensitive. I feel like if she hadn't gone in a passive aggressive type of way, or just an aggressive type of, you know, like an angry, mad type of way, he would have responded to it well. The cutie scene gives that away to me, because when he says like, oh, why did you only eat a banana and peanut butter? That would have been a great opportunity to be like, you know, I'll be honest with you, the words you say, they're affecting my eating. I've noticed that I've been eating less around you because of your comments, or how I feel about myself because of your comments, like something. But at the end of the day, like, that's all Zanab. You can't blame anyone else for your mental health. For your mental health is more of like an explanation to why you do the things you do. It doesn't mean you get to treat, it's not a pass to treat people however you want to treat them, or to just like, I don't know, ignore the things that are going on. So that's how I felt about that. I think in her mind, up until the wedding, I don't think it was malicious, like the thoughts she had. So the way she saw that cutie scene, I don't think it was a malicious thing. I don't think she purposely made it seem that way, like manipulated the scene to make him look bad. I think that her mind really thought that that's how those moments went. I think a lot of people were like, oh, the comments he's making about food, like how could he do that to her? And personally, the way I look at it is like, everyone is different, right? Me, I don't get triggered by food comments. Growing up, as an adult, as a teen, at any stage, people would make comments like that. I'd be like, yeah, I'm about to eat this and I'm gonna order some more. Like, you know, like I was like, I eat, so what? And so to me, that wouldn't affect me. So I wouldn't look at that. No one would look at that and me and be like, oh, how could you say that to her, right? So the thing is, Cole's the type of person who probably just jokes about food like that. Who's like, dang, like you eating all that, da-da-da, like making just, they think it's jokes. They think it's all in good fun. And so a person like Zanab could have easily just said, like, I don't think those are jokes. They really hurt me. They make me feel weird about food. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's like you have to communicate. And it's funny because in her little apology, non-apology thing that she did on IG, she's like, oh, you know, sorry, your triggers aren't my triggers, with her apology to us, the internet. Sorry, your triggers aren't my triggers. Sorry, you don't know me like I know me, and that, you know, what you say about me says more about you. All that crap. Sorry, your triggers are not my triggers. It's like, exactly. Like, your triggers are not his triggers. So you have to inform him of your triggers. And if he is a person who cares, he will try to adjust to not trigger you, to help you through that. I genuinely don't believe she did that. You can see it in the cutie scene, and you can see it in a lot of the other arguments and petty things they had throughout the show. So That's my main issue with them. My biggest issue with Zanab is she has doubled down even after it's been shown that she may have perceived things wrong. That would have been a great opportunity to make a statement that's like, you know what? I think where my mental health was at, or I think how I was struggling with food, made me look at a lot of things that were said differently. Maybe they weren't said that way. It just seemed to me like she was trying to build this narrative and this character of Cole to fit her and make herself feel better about how crappy she felt about herself. And I don't think it had much to do with Cole. Wedding was malicious and planned. She keeps saying it's not staged. That was staged. Like, you literally, it was a whole speech. You couldn't have gotten up there and said that off the top of the dome. It's just not. No. And then her friends clapping. Like, your friends knew you were going to do something. You knew you were going to say no at the altar. Like, what? No. All of it? No. It felt like a conversation that should have happened in private, and it should have. So it's unfortunate that she did that. It's clear that she didn't tell Cole she was going to say no. Now, whether Cole should have seen it or not, debatable. But it's clear that it just was not okay. And then we all know that the reunion wasn't okay. We know how that was received. No one's, I don't think anyone thinking logically is saying Cole was like all in the right and Cole never did anything. But I think that everything we saw towards the end of the show, reunion included, and after the fact, give us a different picture of the story. And I feel like she really like kind of just doubled down on it, and still refuses to see her wrongs. She claims she's in therapy. Guys, the thing about therapy is if you go in there and either lie about things or you're more worried about trying to make yourself look better or look right, it's not gonna work. That therapist can't help you if you're not just being honest and vulnerable about, you know, what you're doing, where you're messing up, so that they can help you through it. And I don't think she's doing that, because if she was, she wouldn't be acting the way she is on social media. And the biggest update we had, which was the reason I decided to make this video, was Zanab making that post about like, we're not the same, like you're messaging me about him, I'm meeting with his ex, and the caption was like, we both don't want him or something. Well, what's the point of that? Like, one, that was dumb. I don't know if it's true, and maybe she just posted it, but if it is true, or maybe she posted it about a different guy, but that wouldn't make sense either. So I think she knew that even if she wasn't talking about Cole, people would think she was talking about Cole. So to choose to post that anyways, you're weird. You're corny. Because if you're not getting back together with this guy, what's the point of meeting with his ex? Just move on. Let go. What are you meeting with his ex about? Because she's grasping at straws, trying to like confirm everything she believes about him. And it's like, just let go. Like, he let go. You need to you're acting like you let go, but you clearly didn't. Just stop. But anyways, those are my thoughts. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry, I know this is late. This feels very late, but it's fine. We got it done. We got it up. I'm about to be late to work, and that's okay too. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment your thoughts down below. I really want to hear your thoughts, especially about the updates. I feel like we've all kind of come to a consensus of how we feel about the show this season. But yeah, subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.